Hi there, welcome back to You May Disagree. Today we are talking about the absolute heartbeat of rock and roll, the drummers. Typically, people think a drummer's only job is to sit in the back, keep a basic beat, and maybe throw in a flashy stick spin for the cameras. But there is a massive difference between a drummer who just keeps time and a true master of the craft who drives the entire engine of the band. Now, the 1980s was a decade obsessed with visual spectacles. We saw guys playing inside giant spinning cages, upside down, and on roller coasters over the crowd. But let's be real, spinning around in midair didn't make anyone a better timekeeper. For this list, I want to strip away the pyro, the stunts, and the corporate hype. We are looking strictly at raw skill, timing, independent limb coordination, and actual talent. This is my list. And as always, you may disagree. Let's dive in. Coming in at number 5 is Tommy Lee. When I was a young teenager, I was actually driven by his thunderous playing, especially on Livewire and Shout at the Devil. If you examine his skills based on the records, you'll notice a fascinating evolution. In the early 80s, on albums like Too Fast for Love, he was a young musician full of raw energy, driven by a punk metal attitude. He was good, but he would later develop into an even greater talent. But by 1989, on Dr. Feelgood, he had completely transformed. He stopped relying on the flashy filler, locked into an ironclad pocket, and developed this heavy, swinging backbeat on tracks like the title track or Wild Side. It took him a while to get there, but his raw talent eventually caught up to the hype, and he became a master of the arena rock groove. Coming in at number 4 is a player who completely shatters the predictable rock countdown format, Sheila E. Now, Sheila E. didn't grow up playing in a messy garage. She was a child prodigy, raised by percussion royalty. Before she ever hit the pop charts, she was playing hyper-complex jazz fusion sets with legends like Herbie Hancock. Her hand speed, precision, and ability to shift effortlessly between a traditional drum kit and timbales require a baseline of physical talent that very few rock drummers possess. In the mid-1980s, this is when I actually became aware of her. At that time, Prince had the most demanding musical camp on the planet. He famously fired master musicians if they couldn't keep up with his erratic tempo changes and complex funk rock arrangements. Sheila E. became his music director and drummer because she was the only human who could match his freakish pace. Just watch the 1987 Sign of the Times concert film. Her blistering, pocket-perfect speed on tracks like You Got the Look or The Cross proves her independent limb coordination completely demanded your attention. Sliding into the number 3 spot is Nicko McBrain. Look, it is practically impossible to discuss the landscape of 80s heavy metal without mentioning this man. He is the high-octane powerhouse, fueled by raw physical endurance, that keeps the Iron Maiden engine roaring. Back in the early part of that decade, his percussive assault absolutely floored me, and his performance on the Peace of Mind record was nothing short of spectacular. What really marks Nicko as a total virtuoso is the wizardry of his right foot. Even while anchored in a blistering heavy metal environment, he famously refuses to touch a double bass pedal. He manages to shadow Steve Harris's frantic galloping bass lines on epic tracks like Where Eagles Dare, using a single pedal technique that defies logic. His independent limb control is just mind-blowing. He doesn't just push the tempo, he injects a unique swinging bounce into the metal genre. He is a true master of the kit who completely commands the music and blows everyone's minds doing it. Claiming the number 2 spot is none other than Carmine Appice. Now, many casual listeners might link Carmine exclusively to the 60s, but his studio output in the 1980s features some of the most technical, jaw-dropping, and powerful drumming of that entire era. He is essentially the architect of heavy rock percussion, masterfully blending traditional jazz rudiments with a modern, bone-crushing intensity. If we are stripping away the corporate name hype to focus on pure, raw skill, you have to look at his performance on the 1989 Blue Murder record. On a track like Jelly Roll, his playing is absolutely breathtaking, filled with intricate triplets, syncopated cymbal chokes, and a relentless double bass assault. He has the history and the chops to back it all up. And finally, at number 1 is the undisputed gold standard of technical composition and design, Neil Peart. Maybe he was, and maybe he wasn't the greatest drummer of all time. You be the judge. But whatever you think of Neil Peart, there is certainly no doubt he was the best in my opinion. I was so incredibly shocked and saddened the day he died. I was a big fan of his playing and creativity. The professor approached the drum kit like a classical composer. He meticulously scripted every single snare hit, hi-hat bark, and cymbal crash to fit precisely around the music. What he did in the 1980s was pure wizardry. See, in the 80s, Rush leaned heavily into synthesizers and high-tech production. On tracks like Tom Sawyer or YYZ, Neil wasn't just playing these incredibly complex driving acoustic beats. He also redesigned his live setup into a rotating kit, so he could trigger electronic drum pads mid-song. Talk about playing to the song, he was the master. His metric precision anchored the entire band, proving he stands entirely alone at the top of the mountain. And so there they are, 5 amazing drummers who rose to the challenge and matured into some of the greatest drummers of the 80s. Now you may disagree, and if you do, please let me know who you would replace and who you'd replace them with. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Thank you for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next one.